Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabho Jaya Giri Varadhari Giri Varadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabho Jaya Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanacharya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shira Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shira Prabhupada. Nisai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nisai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Parivrajakacharya, Ashtodhara Shishimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Garadhara, Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda, and Kiri Govardhana ki, Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki, Mayapur Dhama ki, Jagannathpuri Dhama ki, Ganga Maya ki, Yamuna Maya ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, and the Gaur Premanande. All glories to all Samul devotees. All glories to all Samul devotees. All glories to all Samul devotees. All glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Does it work? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narochaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashta Prayashavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhaktir Bhagavatam Ashloke Bhaktir Bhagavatanashtiki Shri Shri Radha Kunanda ki Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Shri Gauranath Raj ki Shri Prabhupada ki De Gaur Premanande. So reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 2, text number 29. Saeva Godana Lakshmya Niketam Sita Govidam Charanaya Anugopan Ronad Venur Aritamat Saeva Godana Lakshmya Niketam Sita Govrisham Charayanan Gangopan Ranad Venur Aniramath Saeva Godana Lakshmya Niketam Sita Govrisham Charanayanakam Gopan Ranad Venur Anirumat. Prabhus. Saeva Godana Lakshmya Niketam Sita Govrisham Charayan Gangopan Ranad Venur Anirmata. Saeva Godana Lakshmya Marajis. Godana Lakshmya Niketam Sita Govrisham Charayan Gangopan Ranad Venur Anirmat. Yeah. Word for word translation. Sah He, Lord Krishna. Eva, certainly. Godanam, the treasure of cows. Lakshmyach, by opulence. Niketam, reservoir. Sita Govrisham, beautiful cows and bulls. Charayan, herding. Anugan, the followers. Gopan, cowherd boys. Ranat, blowing. Venu, flute. Ariramat, enlivened. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened the faithful followers, the cowherd boys. Purport. As he grew to 6 and 7 years old, the Lord was given charge of looking after cows and bulls in grazing grounds. He was the son of a well-to-do landlord who owned hundreds and thousands of cows, and according to Vedic economics, one is considered to be a rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows, With only those two things, cows and grain, humanity can solve its eating problems. Human society needs only sufficient grain and sufficient cows to solve its economic problems. All other things, but those two, are artificial necessities created by man to kill the valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. Lord Krishna, as the teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that their mercantile community, or the Vaishyas, should herd the cows and bulls and thus give protection to their valuable animals. According to Smriti regulations, the cow is the mother and the bull is the father of the human beings. The cow is the mother because just as one sucks the breath of one's mother, human society takes cow's milk. Similarly, the bull is the father of human society because the father earns for the children just as the bull stills the ground to produce food grain. Human society will kill its spirit of life by killing the father and the mother. It is mentioned herein that the beautiful cows and bulls were of various checkered colors: red, black, green, yellow, ash, etc. And because of their colors and healthy, smiling features, the atmosphere was enlivening. Over and above all, the Lord used to play his celebrated flute. The sound vibration by the flute would give the friends such transcendental pleasure that they would forget all talks of Brahmananda, which is so praised by the impersonalists. This cowherd voice, as well as explained by Shukadeva Goswami, were living entities who had accumulated heaps of pious acts and thus were enjoying with the Lord in person and were hearing his transcendental flute. The Brahma Samhita 5.30 confirms the Lord's blowing his transcendental flute. Venam kvanantam aravindalalaya taksham Parhavatam samasitam buyasundarangam Kandarpakotika maniya visheshachobam Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. Brahmaji said, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He is decorated with peacock plums, and his bodily color resembles a fresh black cloud, although his bodily features are more beautiful than the million of cupids. These are the special features of the Lord. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurumiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. Jai. I don't feel very qualified to be sitting here in front of you. So many senior Vaishnavas. I am probably one of the youngest person in this room. And before I start, I want to ask for your blessings and the mercy of my spiritual master, so I can say something that might be helpful to you in any way. Hare Krishna. As we can see in this verse, Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice explanation of two personalities that are very dear to Krishna. They are the cows and the flute. The interesting thing about the flute, that Vamshi, the Krishna's flute, is an item that Krishna carries around everywhere. Doesn't matter where he goes, he has his flute. Like, he sleeps with his flute, he herds the cows with his flute, he even goes like for rasa dance with his flute. There are even some pastimes when Krishna was dressing up as a gopi, and he still had his flute. And that's the way how gopis were able to kind of figure him out. So yeah, flute is actually a very dear personality to Krishna. And Acharyas explain how the flute actually is a rival to gopis. The gopis feel that the flute is like their enemy for two reasons. First of all, because gopis, they're actually very attached to Krishna, but they are not able to be with him for most of the time, only in some times of the day. However, the flute is constantly with Krishna. And that's why kind of the gopis feel very jealous. The spiritual world has all the qualities that they have in the material world, except for one. That's jealousy. No, envy, sorry. Yeah, and but jealousy is there. It's transcendental jealousy. So the gopis are jealous of the flute. And the second reason that the gopis are actually kind of considering the enemy to be the flute is because they're controlled by the flute. Whenever Krishna plays the flute, they feel they cannot be themselves. They just have to run away and follow Krishna. And actually, it's not like this for all the tunes he plays. Krishna has quite a few, of course. Like in the music theory, there's 7 notes, and Krishna has a special note he plays to attract the gopis, and that's the 5th note, the note Pa in you can say Indian music. So I found this very interesting, as kind of you can think about it as so when Krishna wants to attract the gopis, he plays his flute with the note Pa. And when they hear this sound of the flute, they just feel so attached that they just drop what they're doing and run for Krishna. So yeah, that's something about the flute. So next we have cows. Cows are very dear to Krishna, as we all know. Actually, kind of Krishna's house is called Go Loka, which stands for the land of the cows. This must say something about how much the Lord actually likes cows. Yeah, I actually have quite one poem that one Vaishnavacharya wrote about Goloka. I thought it could be quite interesting to hear his description of the Goloka. His name is Chitta Swami. He's like sannyasi, I think, from 15th century. My spiritual master quotes him sometimes. So here you go. Cows in front of him, cows behind him, cows are everywhere. Sri Krishna, the protector of cows, loves to be surrounded by them. He has filled the land of Braja with so many cows that even Vaikuntha is forgotten. It is for the sake of the cows that he held up the Govardhan hill. Yeah, I think it's a very nice description of how much Krishna actually loves cows. And you actually can know about this from the verse we chant every day, basically. From the Vishnu Purana, I think it's 1965. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha, Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namah. So here Krishna is explained that Krishna is the protector of 2 personalities, the cows and the brahmanas. But the acharyas actually give a further explanation that out of the 2, the cows are more dear to him than the brahmanas. That's proved by the structure of the verse. If you see how the verse is structured, is Go Brahmanya Hitaya. First the cows, then the brahmanas. So I found this actually quite interesting. So actually, the way how the verse is structured in Sanskrit is actually kind of like, it has a deeper meaning. So just try to think about it. And actually, Acharya has given more explanations about this. And they explain that the brahmanas, Krishna loves, Krishna protects them. But with the cows, he spends most of his time. He spends like all the playful time he has, he spends with the cows. Of course, he's a brahmanas a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening. But actually the time he actually enjoys, he spends with the cows. And I found this to be very interesting. Then this was actually meant to be. When Krishna was born, Nanda Maharaj asked Garga Muni to actually do a chart for Krishna. And we are actually blessed to have a small portion of it. And I'll just kind of read it out. So because Krishna was born in the year of Vibhashu, Bashu and the whole universe will be pleased with him. Then because he was born in the month or the constellation of Rohini, he will be the master of the herds of cows. And because his ascendant is Taurus, he will be doubtless the protector of innumerable bulls. Yeah. I think this gives a nice insight on how, that kind of Krishna is actually like, if you look from any angle, from any point of view, he's like the protector of cows. Like he loves cows. That's something I found to be very interesting. Okay, then we got, however the cows actually play an quite actually important role, not just in the spiritual world, but over here, also in the material world. I try to explain that there's 7 kinds of mothers there is in the material world. And they are as follows. So we have our real mother, our kind of mother who gives us birth. There is a nurse. Then there is guru's wife, brahmana's wife, king's wife. Then there is Gomata, the cow, and Bhumi Devi. Actually, quite interesting. And I remember a spiritual master gave a very nice explanation of who actually was the meaning of the word mother. Mother is a person who gives more than she takes. And I found it to be this very profound, like, really touched me. Like, the mother is actually so selfless. Like, they actually give so much, and they take nothing, basically. So many sleepless nights, so much time they spend with us. And, they don't expect anything from us. It's actually very interesting. And acharyas go actually even further, and they give a nice explanation of how the 7 mothers, there's 3 groups of sisters. So the first 2, the mother who actually gives us birth, and the nurse, they're considered to be sisters. Then the next group would be the brahmana's wife, guru's wife, and king's wife. So these 3 personalities, they also considered to be sisters. And then we have the other 2. We have Gomata and Bhumi Devi. They are to be sisters. And actually quite a few personalities in our line, they give a nice explanation that for this reason, because Bhumi Devi and the cow are considered to be sisters, often if you see, Bhumi Devi is like shown as a cow. Like if you see different pastimes, often enough we see Bhumi Devi represented by the cow. So I found this to be quite unique. However, we've got a problem that our mothers, our dear cows, are being slaughtered. It's a very big problem that those mothers who give so much to us, they provide milk that milk is a product that never goes bad. From milk you can make yogurt, from yogurt you can make butter, from butter you can make ghee. And ghee and honey are those 2 ingredients that never go bad. Even if you leave them for 10 years, of course properly sealed. If you just leave it if you mix it up with honey and mix honey and yogurt, you'll have after 2-3 days, you'll have a nice beverage that will make you a little high. But if you keep it properly sealed, these 2 things, ghee and honey, never go bad. After 10 years, they maybe not be tasting as nice, but they'll have a lot of medical potencies with them. So cows are actually very important in our culture. And as Prabhupada mentions here in this verse, that just by having grains and cows, the society can be fully economically sustained. And everything else is there, it's nice, but it's not essential. If by drinking milk, you can develop fine brain tissues that help you understand the Vedas and other scriptures. So as I mentioned before, we have a big problem. The cows are being slaughtered. It's a very sad situation. Chanakya Pandit actually gives a nice explanation. He explains you can judge a country by the way how they treat the cows. And you can see it every single country. Practically every country. Even India, the Bharatavarsha, the land of light, land of knowledge, it's one of the biggest exporters of cow meat. It's so disappointing. It's just so heartbreaking. I remember even a few years ago, I was in Mayapur, and I think 2017 or 18, they were actually about to open a slaughterhouse in Navadvip. It was insane. In Navadvip, the place where Mahaprabhu was born. They were actually about to open a slaughterhouse. That's how low we're falling down. Society is falling down. Of course, kind of, we had devotees who they had different protests, who tried to fight for it, and yeah, luckily it was closed. But there are many more other places that have slaughterhouses, and it's very disappointing. Yeah. Actually, kind of, I heard a very nice explanation is that out of the four regulative principles, we have the most sinful act is eating meat. It's not intoxication, it's not gambling, it's not illicit sex, it's meat eating. And the reason for that is because all the other things that you do is, it kind of affects you, of course, mentally, physically, in many ways. But by eating meat, it affects the surrounding, the society. And so your enjoyment is based around someone's death. Someone's throat has to be chopped for you to enjoy. And it's crazy, like, it's so true. Like, it's so sinful. They say that for the person who kills a cow, he has to be born as a cow and be killed that many lifetimes as the many hairs are there on the body of the cow. Just try to think about it. Like, imagine how many hairs are there on the cow. It's crazy. Like, so just think about it. How many times you have to be born again? And for those meat eaters, they don't eat cow once. They eat cow quite often. Now imagine every single time how sinful it is. It's not a joke. Yeah, it's so sad. And my spiritual master gives a nice explanation. He says that for the sin of eating meat, especially cows, Krishna gives a very special punishment. He takes away the greatest asset that the human being has. And think about it. What is our greatest assets? Maybe I think most of us kind of think, a house is a good asset, a car maybe. But actually, kind of those people with a higher financial intelligence, they understand that house is actually a liability. I think it doesn't matter. So they invest in like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and so on. But those people with like proper intelligence, they actually understand that buddhi, their intelligence, is the greatest asset. Because if you have all those things in your karma, like you have your investments, you will have real estate, but if you don't have intelligence, how to properly use it, it'll be all gone. I remember one time I heard, I think someone in, what was it? I think there was an airline called Fisherman's. And then somehow the customer service wasn't very good, and they offended Prabhupada. And like Prabhupada said, the customer service is not good, they offend Vaishnavas, so they'll have problems. And like just in this same year, the company shut down. It was crazy, they went completely bankrupt. So yeah, I think I found this to be quite interesting. So yeah, by killing cows and eating meat, our greatest asset, our intelligence, goes away. It dies. And we're not able to understand who we are and kind of understand what's the goal of life. Honestly, I don't have too much experience with meat eaters and karmis because I live in Mayapur for most of my life. But I do have some kind of experience with meat eaters, which I want to kind of share. So every year after Gopurnim, 8 to 9 boys and one teacher from the Gurukul, we go to Vrindavan for a Vraj Parikram. And it's not a normal Vrindavan Parikram, it's a bit unique in its ways. So the idea is that you only have a set of clothes, actually 2 sets, one on you and one in your bag. You have a cloth bag, you have maybe one gamcha, your toothpaste, one tiffin that you use for both eating, washing your private parts, and everything else. Just only the bare necessities you need for life. Yeah. So kind of the idea is that you go to Vrindavan, and so you have no money and no arrangements. You just go to the place. You come to Vrindavan and stay in the temple for one day, and then from there, next morning, we leave. And it takes around 19, 20 days to go around the whole Vraj. Not Vrindavan, but the all 12 forests of Vrindavan. So you go around, but without any arrangements. No cash, and no phone calls asking anyone to stay. It's quite an experience. So you go to a place, you just you walk around 25 kilometers a day. In the morning, it's fine. So you come to a place. I remember our first day was Madhuvan. You come to a place and you just kind of you find some ashram or some tree where you can stand beneath, and you kind of just relax there. Then if you have any pumps or some kind of ponds, you take a bath, and then around like maybe 10 o'clock, you go out for Madhukari. So what you do is you have your tiffin, like a metal 1 liter tiffin, and you kind of you go around the village and you knock on the villagers' houses, and you ask for Madhukari. You ask for, how would you put it? What was the word? Roti chaya. That's like, I want roti. Oh yeah, that was the line. So it's quite interesting. So kind of, yeah, and honestly, the Rajavasis were so kind. Not a single day we went when we were starving. We went out twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and every single day we had enough to eat. Like, without making any arrangements. We had like rotis, and those rotis, I'm telling you, they're the best. They know what we have upstairs. Like, those rotis up there, they're nothing like, compared to the real rotis. Like, when you come to the house, you knock on the door, and like, they welcome you first of all, they invite you into the house, then they sit down, give you water, and then, yeah, they kind of, in front of you, they have storehouses with wheat. They take it out, and they hand grind it in front of you. Then using the wheat, they make chapatis, not with a pin, using hands. They roll using hands. And then they fry it in front of you. And like, when you get this fresh roti, it's just like so amazing. Like, it doesn't stand anywhere with any restaurant, any Michelin stars cooks and things. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's an experience you have to, you cannot hear it, you have to experience it. Like, it's something very deep. Yeah. So anyways, kind of, this is the parikram we go every year. Not everyone goes for it. Only like the senior boys, when they're mature enough to kind of have enough faith in Krishna that they can depend on him. That's the idea. Kind of, you go for a parikram, so you can have experience certain feelings, like how Krishna actually takes care of you, without making any arrangements. Anyway, so kind of, because after Gurpurnima, it's around March time, it's quite hot during the day. So you have to walk in the morning. Like, unless you walk in the morning, you'll be finished. You have no chance of walking. So what we do, we wake up around like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, take a shower, and by 2 o'clock latest, we leave the place. So like, we walk when it's very dark. Just keep walking like 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers, depends on the day. I remember our last day, we walked from Dauji, I think first to Raval, and then to Vrindavan. That was like 40 kilometers. That was like the max we did. Anyway, so we walk in the morning, and yeah. And you go to different villages, and every kind of every forest of Vrindavan has different villages. And yeah, sadly enough, that even Vrindavan, even Vraj, has places where people eat meat. Like, it's very sad, but it's true. There's certain Muslim villages that kind of have a culture where they still eat meat. And it's very disappointing. But yeah, anyways, so when you walk in the morning, often you don't see much. You just walk through a village and, yeah, kind of walk. But when you walk through villages where you have Muslims that eat meat, there are dogs that also eat meat. And for this reason, they are super angry. They're crazy. Like actually a few times, like, they were chasing after us. Like, they were super angry. It was like, ah! And luckily we had sticks. Every person had a stick, so we were able to defend ourselves. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulanda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gauranath Raj ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. So yeah, kind of, those dogs that ate meat, it was such a profound difference. It was such a contrast between the villagers that didn't eat meat and the places where the dogs were fed meat. And like, I found this to be like so shocking. Like, it's the same place, Vrindavan, Vraj, and just this small kind of difference. The way how you treat your animals makes a huge difference. Like, the way how they treat others, the way how they think, their mentality. So yeah, kind of, there's some small experience I had with those creatures that eat meat. Yeah. So then one thing, how actually Shastras give us a very nice explanation is that, yeah, one cool thing about one really far out thing about our scriptures is that it has space and instructions for every single person, every single entity there's in our material world. Doesn't matter how conditioned he is, there's a path for him. So there's certain people, I don't know actually how true it is, but there's certain people who cannot live without meat. Like, they just cannot survive without having some kind of meat. So for them, Shastra actually has a special section. There are 18 Puranas in the Shastras, and there's 6 Puranas for the Tamasic people, 6 Puranas for Rajasic, and 6 Puranas for Sattvic. So yeah, so this section, this falls under the Tamasic section, and actually explains that for those who are super attached to eating meat, it's possible. There are ways to do it. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of give a small kind of explanation how they do it. So, yeah. So for those people who are actually super attached to eating meat, there's a certain procedure they should do. And they can do it once a month on Purnima, full moon. So that what they have to do, they have to get a goat, they have to go to a Kali temple, Durga temple. And like those people who've seen the deity of Durga, it's quite, you can say, horrific and ferocious. Like, if you go to Mayapur or somewhere actually anywhere in Bengal, around like maybe September around September. That's the time before Durga Puja. And they have a lot of this, almost every second street has a workshop where they build this Kali deities. So you can see like it's quite hard, shocking to see how ferocious she is. Luckily we have Radha Gokunanda. She's like so merciful, like she's so gorgeous. But like those Kali worshippers have this ferocious form that kind of is just so scary. Yeah. Anyway, so what you do, you have to get a goat, you have to, on the Purnima, take it to the temple of Kali, and before you sacrifice him, there's a special mantra you chant. I don't know if you should memorize it, but I'll just kind of mention it, just for general knowledge. So kind of, in the right ear of the goat, you have to chant a mantra. It goes as follows. Mamsaha kadati imam, Mamshaha kadati imam, Mamshaha kadati iti mamsha. Mamshaha kadati iti mamsha. And the translation is as follows. Dear goat, I am killing you in front of Kali. And because I'm killing you in front of Kali, you'll get a human form of life in the next. I'm being merciful to you. So kind of that's the way, like that's the translation of the mantra. And if you go word for word, the translation actually means Mamshaha means mom is me, and Shaha means you. And the Sanskrit is actually quite an interesting language. That like every word has a deeper meaning inside. Like the word meat in Sanskrit is Mamshaha, means me, you. So like, but the word meat, it means that when you eat it, you'll be the person in the next life that is going to be eaten. So like, I found this to be quite interesting, that the Sanskrit language is so deep, it's so profound, that just within the word meat, there's the karma behind it. Like you can see like what's going to happen to you. So yeah, I found this to be kind of quite a interesting quote. Anyways, so that's, how you sacrifice a goat. Hope you'll never have to use it. But kind of, that's just for your general knowledge. In case you find someone who actually is so attached to it, you can tell them that there's a way, like it's possible to do it without being sinful. Yeah. So, as we spoke about before, the problem is cow killing. That we have so many cows being slaughtered. And what is the solution? Like every problem has a solution. And as actually Prabhupada mentions here, and he's mentioned many, many other scriptures and commentaries, is Varnashram. Varnashram is something, I think in this context, it's a very sensitive topic that everyone has a different opinion about. So, it's quite hard to speak about it sometimes. Before, I didn't want to kind of actually tell you how to follow Varnashram. I don't think I'm qualified enough to teach you what Varnashram is. I'm just a 20-year-old who finished Gurukul, or actually about to finish Gurukul, with not much experience. There's so many more qualified people like Yeshu Maharaj who has a lot of experience. So kind of what I want to share is just one small kind of insight or realization that I had that might help you get a better understanding of how you can implement Varnashram. Maybe not actually an idea how to do it fully, but a mindset that might help you kind of in developing this mission that Prabhupada wanted. And it's something to do with the concept of leadership. So, please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Manor is a bad place. It's great leaders. But yeah, just for Varnashram, we have a certain understanding of leadership that really helps build the communities. And yeah, we have a few minutes. I just want to kind of ask people, what do you think about leadership? What is leadership? Can someone kind of give me a small kind of definition? What's leadership? Anyone? Please?
Leader, Hare Krishna. Leader, those who lead the team by showing his own example.
Certainly, 100%. Anyone else? Any more? Please.
A leader is someone who serves their people. So I think common misconception is a leader is someone who's at the top, who delegates and does everything like that and doesn't actually participate in the work. But the best of leaders are the ones that are actually serving their people at all times.
100%. I totally agree with you, actually. It's very true. Anyone else? Okay, yeah. So, like for me, always leadership was. I heard this kind of quote by Tamal Krishna Maharaj. He says the difference between leadership and management is that managers, they work with people, and leaders work for people. So kind of this is something like kind of really, like this was for many years. This was kind of my concept of leadership. So, and just kind of recently, just a few weeks ago, I was doing a case study on one company, Barry Weckmiller. And yeah, the CEO of this company, I think kind of he gives a very nice insight on this concept of leader is a person who works for people. And so his understanding of leadership is a person, so kind of let me just kind of read it out. Leadership as a concept is stewardship of people entrusted upon us. Just think about it again. Stewardship of people entrusted upon us. I found this to be kind of actually give a deeper understanding of like what actually leadership is. Or at least kind of for me, it really kind of touched me. Like, because like working for people is like a sutra. Like, sutra is a very condensed version. Like, and it has a lot behind it, but for you to be able to understand it, it takes some certain intelligence. But like for me, kind of when I read this small quote, that leadership is stewardship of people entrusted upon you. It kind of really touched me. It really kind of like resonated with me. So yeah, like one thing he actually, this gentleman, Bob Chapman, he does, he explains that leadership is very connected to parentership, to being a parent. Like the concept of leadership is practically the same thing as being a parent. You're caring for the person behind, like person under you. You actually have genuine care for someone under you. And that's what I found to be very profound. Very kind of like, it's actually true, like you, as Prabhu said, like you actually care about them. As a child, like you have a child, you only want the best. You only want like, whatever you do, you want to make sure that the person becomes a better person. Like you might sacrifice yourself, like as I said, mothers before. Mothers, they give more than they take. It's the same for leaders. They give more than they take. And actually, this gentleman, Bob Chapman, he actually made a mission statement to his company that goes as follows. We are in business so that our team members can have meaningful and fulfilling lives. We do that through building of capital equipment and offering engineering consulting. So kind of the idea behind his business is that every single employee, he calls them team members, is that they're in business not because they want to make profit, not because, of course, profit is there, but their concept is putting people above profits. So like I found this to be kind of really far out. Like even karmis, you can say, meat eaters, have an understanding of what leadership is. Like, yeah, it kind of really touched me. And if you see from our Parampara and Acharyas, she's starting from Lord Ram himself. Like he was a great leader. And we can see that because he actually cared for his people, that's why he was considered like the leader of all times. Like he's the, you can say, idol. Like he's like the person who we see as a real leader. Then we can see Prabhupada. The way how Prabhupada treated every single person he had under him. He was just so caring. It was actually like a real father. So I found this, like it's really far out. But yeah, many times kind of I heard that, kind of Prabhupada said, I actually love my disciples. They love me because I love them. And that goes for any spiritual master. I know like for my spiritual master, he actually kind of generally loves his disciples. And therefore, disciples love him. I remember actually hearing Keshe Maharaj was giving a speech, just maybe I think in February, January, don't remember, somewhere in Haveli. And he was saying a story when the spiritual master that, how much his spiritual master actually gave him. He was giving him so much, like so many instructions, so much personal association. That's what I took. And then in the beginning, he didn't ask for anything. In the beginning, he was just like, just take so much, take so much. And then when the disciple is ready, he asks, but ask for big, as Maharaj said. I found this kind of, when you have this care and trust from someone, you feel obliged to him. You can actually do so much more. And that's why this company and any other organization actually cares for people and actually kind of, they have so much faith and so much care for the people. They are the people there actually feel very fulfilling lives and they want to be engaged in the organization. And please, as I said before, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Manor is the best place. It's actually one of the greatest communities, I would go to say. And also the reason for that is because they actually follow this concept of leadership. Like I saw this for myself, like in the Pujari department. Another Gopal Prabhu, Madhu Kumari Mataji, they were actually kind of so caring, like the way how they treated me. It was very heart-touching, to be honest. I didn't experience this in many places. Kind of really felt that they care for me and they want the best for me. And that's why I feel that I want to give as much as I can. And I saw this in many other places, like in many other departments. I remember going out for SSP just, I think last Sunday, and Keshe Maharaj came there, and he was like, I saw him, he spoke to almost every single person there. Every single person there on the streets, he spoke to them. Like he showed that he's cared, like he is, attention. And that's just what's really kind of touched my heart, that we have a community where people care about each other. And like, that's the reason why we have such a tight bond and we are so connected. And that's why people actually want to come and stay. And I found this to be very unique. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this community and this family of Bhaktivedanta Manor. So here's a quick recap about today's class. It's already 30. So Krishna loves cows. That's something that some personalities that are very dear to Krishna. So if you want to please Krishna, you must protect cows. Whichever way is possible, you must protect cows. And Varnashrama, and actually caring about the people, that will build a community where people feel protected and cared for, is the way how we can build a society where the people who are naturally inclined to protect cows will come up and stay in the community. That's my humble request. Any questions, comments, or corrections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thanks
Krishna.
so much for the nice class. I was just wondering, there was one point in the purport about how cows and grains is everything we humans really need to be happy, and everything else is kind of superfluous. So I guess it kind of touches on that point of simplicity. And I was just wondering, you say like simplicity is the austerity of the mind. And I think a lot of people, we can sometimes see when they're used to that, those conveniences, when they have to give them up, the mind becomes quite agitated in one way as well. So just wondering on your thoughts on that point, how what to do in such a case if someone is very used or attached to those conveniences and then he has to give them up.
Wow, that's a good point. Thank you. Certainly, They say that simple living, high thinking. That's our motto, as Prabhupada said. So yeah, certainly kind of all of us have different conditionings, different attachments. But what I think I can say for myself is that when you associate with someone who is actually simple, and you see how they can actually live simply and like not care for things, like well, not saying not care for things, but like you don't have to worry about too many things. You can actually be more productive. I remember Keshav Maharaj actually gave a class some time ago, and he said that I don't actually remember the exact word, but there's some certain trends that nowadays we have CEOs and big managers have in the company, is that they have this kind of simple week. When they have to make very serious decisions, they go somewhere to a very simple place where they, kind of a simple house, where they don't make small decisions about what they eat, how to dress. Every single dress they have is the same. They have the same thing they eat every day. So just for 1 week, they live very simply. And when they have this simple mindset, they are able to make right decisions for the company, their organizations, and other crucial questions they have. So kind of, I would say that when personally, by associating with people who actually have this understanding and this realization of simple living, high thinking, you can develop the same. That's my personal take on it. That's okay? Does that answer the question? Anything else? Yeah. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, His Grace Pandava Arjun Prabhu ki.